Hey viewers, and welcome to Get Well Stay Well on Revelation TV. You're joined by me, Cyrus Fernando, as always, and we're delighted to be joined by our lovely Felicity. How you doing?
Hi there, I'm really good, and today we've got such an interesting program. You know, I fall in love with every program that I do because I do the research into it, and it's so fascinating. I think, oh, I've got to tell them about that. I've got to tell the Get Well Stay Well people about this. And there's a Dr. Mark Hyman, who we love and who we have actually featured on programs before. And he's brought out the most fantastic new docu-series. So it's a little bit like Ty Bollinger's The Truth About Cancer. And this one is about broken brain.
Wow.
Because he says that most of America is suffering from brain fog, from the children with the autism, the ADDH, to adults with stress, teenagers with stress, adults with stress, and then the elder people, the elder crowd, are getting into Alzheimer's and dementia like never before. And he wondered why this was going on. And then, lo and behold, it happened to him. He was a very top doctor running a big thing on functional medicine and absolutely on top of his game, and a New York bestseller. I think he's got 10 best-selling books, amazing. And he suddenly found that with all the stress and everything, he was beginning to forget things, and he realized that he was losing his memory, that he was getting into a brain fog situation like his patients.
Wow.
So he was horrified, of course, and he did consult with other medical friends, and they were saying, well, you know, you must get onto this drug or that drug. And he was saying, no, I don't think so. I think there's something else. I think this is physical, because I know how I want to be getting on with everything. You know, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious. I just want to be able to do my job as I know I can do it.
I mean, when you're going through something like that, and I guess it's the power of the mind as well, when if someone tells you you're depressed, you feel even more depressed, surely.
Absolutely.
And then it's like your brain probably closes down because you feel, yes, I am depressed. Oh my goodness, I'm depressed.
Yes.
And all you're doing in your mind, you're thinking, I'm depressed, I'm depressed, I'm depressed. But I'm sure if someone says, you're not depressed, I'm not underestimating people who are depressed, and it's not as quick as just flicking a switch and saying you're not depressed and then all of a sudden you're not depressed anymore. But it's so important the way that we think as well, isn't it, to try and stay positive where we can.
That's right. And so he did that. He stayed positive, and he actually did some tests and discovered that his gut was absolutely destroyed of good bacteria. And this was why, you know, we have a gut feeling about things, it alters the mind. And he began to realize that in America, because of the sad diet, you know, we call it the standard American diet, and we followed it very much here in Britain, that the wrong sugars, fats and salts, the processed foods, the animal protein with all the bad things that they've got in them, the growth hormones and the all kinds of chemicals now, are certainly altering people's guts and leading to all these problems, autoimmune disease, MS and things. So anyway, he went into it, he got himself well, and then he decided to make this film on broken brain. And he got together his doctor friends who had also been through the same sort of thing themselves, and so they're actually speaking from a subjective point of view as well as the objective point of view. You know, they know what it's like to be labeled. You go to the doctor and you're not feeling well and you're losing your memory a bit, and then he puts you on antidepressants or anti-anxiety pills or something, and you get into this deeper fog. And so he has fought his way out of it, like so many have, and they've got together all these guys, all these top doctors, and they have made the most fantastic film, including Dr. Terry Walls, who was really bad with MS. I don't know if you remember, we did a program with her some time ago on MS, and she completely healed herself from the kind of stage 2 MS where she was in a wheelchair, she couldn't operate as a doctor anymore, and she completely healed herself by healing her gut.
I think it's important at this stage that we remind the viewers the medication that they're on. Please don't change your medication according to watching today's program. If anything, simply communicate and talk to your doctor. And if there is anything interesting in this program that you found out, then please do cover this topic with your doctor as well, because we're talking in previous programs, Felicity, how the mentality of our doctors are starting to change as well now, aren't they? They're becoming more educated in different sides of health.
Yes, well, it's patient driven, and people are not prepared to go down the drug route, which only leads to more and more problems.
Okay.
So, yes, and you know, get educated. The thing is, don't just believe what I'm saying, but believe what Dr. Hyman says.
Yeah.
People can buy the DVDs, actually, his DVDs from him in America.
Okay.
And if someone is suffering from this kind of problem, then it's a good idea to get educated on it.
Well, we've got the facilities available for us. We've got the powers of the internet. We can simply go and do our own research. So let's have a look at this video now with Dr. Mark Hyman talking about the broken brain.
I want to ask you some questions. How do you feel today? Seriously, how do you feel? Does your mood and energy levels swing up and down? Are you depressed? Do you sleep poorly? Do you feel tired but wired? Do you depend on coffee in the morning just to wake up and maybe a few glasses of wine at night to calm down every day? Do you feel frustrated because you misplace objects or forget names? Do you suffer from brain fog? Do you find it hard to focus on tasks? Do you feel your energy diminishing as the days go on? If you do, you're not alone. This is how most Americans feel. In fact, I'd say we have an epidemic on our hands. Psychiatric disorders affect 26% of our adult population. That's over 60 million Americans. Over 20% of children have some type of psychiatric disorder. Over 40 million people have anxiety, and more than 20 million people have depression. 1 in 10 Americans takes an antidepressant. The use of antidepressants has tripled in the last decade. Alzheimer's disease will affect 30%, and some experts say up to 50% of the people over 85, which is the fastest growing segment of our population and will affect 106 million people by 2050. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, is a label we now give to almost 9% of children between the ages of 8 and 15. Autism rates have increased in children from 3 in 10,000 to 1 in 166 and more. That's an 11-fold increase in the last decade. Learning disabilities affect between 5 and 10% of school-age children. These statistics are grim, and the indirect costs to society for these brain disorders are mammoth. They include loss of productivity at school, at home, or in the workplace, accounting for a loss of over $80 billion a year. I call this an epidemic of broken brains.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Dr. Mark Hyman there talking about broken brains. And it's incredible. Thank you also for bringing this to our attention, Felicity.
Well, I think it's so interesting because, you know, we have followed, in the UK, we followed the same food pattern very much as America. And it's all happened in, you know, the last 20, 30 years. We've gone on to the processed foods, the genetically modified foods, the glyphosate sprayed foods. And so we are starting to get into the same picture that they are in America. And, you know, just repeating what he said, that 40 million adults have anxiety, 20 million are depressed, and most of the elderly people are getting Alzheimer's. So they're going to end up with a huge older population who are all really suffering quite badly from dementia. They're going to need help. They're going to need looking after. So how much is this going to cost?
How do we prevent these types of diseases from a younger age?
Well, it's all about diet.
Yeah.
That's all about diet. It's all about the way we are having counterfeit foods. And what Dr. Mark Hyman is big on is restoring the gut biome, you know. And so it's getting the right intestinal flora back in the body. So we do the colonics, and then we put in things like acidophilus, a really good probiotic, which is going to help. And then we stop doing the bad things that have caused the problem in the first place. And so we stop eating the genetically modified food, getting the chemicals into our body, and go back to the good old and very inexpensive onions, carrots, you know, the broccoli. It doesn't cost a lot to eat this stuff. And it always You know, when people say to me, "Oh, it costs so much to go organic." No, it doesn't, because when you cut out the meat and the fish and the chicken,
that's
and
right.
expensive things.
You think how expensive it is. You go to the supermarket or the butchers and you get the fresh meats, the fish and everything else. They can be quite expensive, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the main part of the household bill. So it's getting onto, as I say, onions, carrots, potatoes. We can have all these very simple things. And if we grow them ourselves, of course, they're going to be clean and not covered in chemicals.
And where is a good starting point for us to start growing these items ourselves?
Well, we can do the hydroponic garden, as we talked about in an earlier program.
Yeah.
And also vertical gardening.
Yeah.
This is really interesting, that people are growing the plants up walls,
Yes.
you know, with little layers of the plants. And so you just drip feed from the top, and of course the water drips all the way down. It's the most economical and space-saving way that you can grow. So this is becoming all the rage.
People often talk about brain food, Felicity.
Yeah.
What are the best foods that we should be eating for our brain?
Well, the sprouts, you know, I don't mean Brussels sprouts, but I mean the sunflower sprouts and the little plants that are just starting to grow, like baby spinach,
Yes.
watercress. They are full of energy, which then feed our mitochondria and form the adenotriphosphate in our body.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we get the living foods in, we're not going to have living brain tissue. You know, we've got to cleanse the gut of the leaky gut, which is the animal proteins getting through the blood barrier in the intestine, and the animal protein actually getting into the blood,
Right.
which is causing the leaky gut.
Right.
So once we are on that vicious cycle, you know, we are definitely going to deteriorate with the mental capacity. And so the country depends on people being bright. You know, we have to have people earning money and growing the economy. And if you've got a sickening population who are, you know, suffering with brain fog, it's going to be a disaster for the country.
What about pollution, air pollution? How does that affect our mind? Both, we're living in a very busy city centre. There's a lot of lorries and buses and cars. Does that affect our mental state?
Oh, that's huge as well, absolutely huge, because you're breathing the stuff in and the plants are being covered with them. So yes, it's...
How do you avoid that if you're working in the city and you've got to travel in? What do you do?
All you can do, literally, is move out until they bring in electric cars, which is supposed to happen, but I think it's going to take a long time.
But that's your income. That's what puts food on the table. That's what pays your mortgage. That's your job. What option do you have to protect yourself?
Unless you decide to think laterally and do a job in the country.
Yeah.
And put your family first and decide that you'll have a healthy lifestyle. And people are doing that. More and more people are doing that because they've realized how ill they've got. And of course, once you become disabled with brain fog or an autoimmune disease, you can't earn the money anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, how much better to actually put the health of children first,
Yeah.
and say, right, we're going to move to the country. We're so lucky here in Spain that although we're in a fast-moving and an economic society, but we have got the mountains and we've got the sea near us. Of course, the chemtrails, you know, the chemical trails, the stratospheric spraying, of course, is damaging people as well.
What about making the most of your time and going out for fresh walks with your family, get some fresh air as well, whenever you can? In previous programs we talked about even at lunchtime, go out for a walk, just smell the fresh air.
Absolutely. It's really, really important to get exercising and get onto, you know, ginger and garlic and all the good things that actually build the health in the body. And as we restore the healthy gut, then the brain fog disappears within weeks.
And we're talking about taking care of our brains now, Felicity, and when you've gone through a traumatic situation in your life, you've lost a loved one, you've gone through trauma, how does that affect our mental state?
Oh, it does, because you can't remember where you put the car keys. You know, it sort of doesn't matter. Your brain has to prioritize on things, and so if you're really worried about a situation, family member dying or something, you know, you are going to not concentrate on the little things that make your life easy. You know, where you put the car keys, where you put the handbag, whatever it is. But it does. The mobile phone, for instance.
How do we overcome that? If there's some of the viewers out there are watching us today and they're saying, do you know what Felicity's saying is absolutely right. My memory is awful. I simply cannot remember where I put the car keys, or I've got an appointment or anything else like that. My memory is absolutely non-existent. What do they do? What's number one?
The most important thing is to stop and just reprioritize things and go to God, you know, give God the problem and say, Lord, I'm just getting lost in this fog, in this haze. Let me just come and read the Word of God, get back into the Word. Even just one phrase, like I shall not die but live and proclaim what the Lord has done, that he heals all our diseases. Just get very, very simple onto something that God has your back. You know, this famous expression that people, God has your back, that you are going to be able to spend half an hour just literally communing with the Lord. Get into nature and just let things go. And then you'll find, you know, you will start organizing again. You'll start remembering where you put the car keys, where you put the mobile phone.
I think that it's so important to have that faith in God, have that communication with God, and also always pray for peace, because you can have a million things going on in your life every day, but as long as you've got peace in your mind, that's all it is, and God will give you that strength to get through no matter what situation there might be.
That's the basis of it, and that's why the Christian Cancer Hospital in Mexico does so well with patients. 97% of them who go with a virgin tumor, the first problem that they've got, are completely healed, and they don't regress, because, you know, it's a lifestyle, and we have to really, I think, reevaluate, reappraise the situation and think how we want to live the rest of our lives, and not to worry about things, because basically anxiety and worry is a killer, isn't it?
It sure is, Felicity. We're talking about diets and staying healthy. We often talk about juicing, but we don't often talk about smoothies, Felicity. Tell us a little bit about smoothies.
Well, the smoothies are wonderful because you can get a little bit more nutrition in, a little bit more creamy taste, maybe, consistency. So you put into your little NutriBullet or whatever blender they've got, you know, you can put in with your juices and with the things that you're going to juice, you can actually add avocados, bananas to make things creamy and taste gorgeous.
Excellent.
So that's really the basics of a good blend.
Wonderful. So let's take a little look at our next item now, and this is talking about smoothies.
In this video, I'm going to be sharing my green detox smoothie recipe for losing weight. This recipe has helped me to lose 40 pounds and has become one of my favorite weight loss breakfast recipes. Hey guys, it's Cecil Jane. Today I'm going to show you how to make my absolute favorite go-to green smoothie recipe. Absolutely love this recipe. I've been making it for a couple of years now, and it's really simple and easy to make. This recipe is completely dairy-free, gluten-free, and sugar-free, so it's really healthy. It also contains good carbs, healthy protein, and good fats as well. So I'm really excited to show you how to make it. Let's get started. The first ingredient that I like to add to my green smoothie is 1 medium banana. This makes the smoothie sweet and creamy and also adds healthy carbs. If you don't like banana though, you can also use mango, about 1 cup of chopped up mango. That also goes really nicely with this recipe. And you can use fresh or frozen. Next I'm adding some fresh cucumber, half to 1 cup peeled and chopped. This makes the smoothie really refreshing. I love cucumber. Then I'll add 1/3 of an avocado for some healthy fats. This will help to make the smoothie even creamier and will also help to keep me fuller for longer. But if you don't like avocado, you can also use about 2/3 of a cup of full cream plain yogurt. I sometimes use plain coconut yogurt. It's a great dairy-free yogurt option, but you can use plain dairy yogurt if you do eat dairy. and then a handful of washed baby spinach. You can hardly taste baby spinach in a smoothie, not like if you were to use other leafy greens like Swiss chard or kale, and it adds a lot of fiber and nutrients. These 4 ingredients are my green smoothie essentials, especially the banana, the avocado, and the baby spinach. And with that as the smoothie base, you can mix and match the rest of the ingredients. Now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of dry whole rolled oats. This actually also helps to make the smoothie creamy, and it adds really good whole carbs. This is actually one of my favorite smoothie ingredients for staying fuller for longer too. Then this is one of the best ingredients. This adds really good protein, some healthy fats, and fiber too. I've mixed 2 teaspoons of chia seeds with about 6 teaspoons of water, and I've left it to soak for a few minutes before adding it to my smoothie. This helps to make the chia seeds digestible. And then for an extra dose of protein, I like to add 1 tablespoon of unsweetened almond butter. This is another ingredient that will help to keep me fuller for longer, and it's really important to have protein with breakfast. I also sometimes add 1 teaspoon of cold pressed coconut oil to my smoothies. This also adds healthy fats. It's important to eat whole carbs, protein, and good fats. Even if you're trying to lose weight, they're all healthy. And then this is totally optional, but you can also add some spirulina or chlorella powder. This adds really good protein too. I sometimes add half to 1 teaspoon. Then about half to 1 cup of water or coconut water. Coconut water adds a little touch of extra sweetness to the smoothie and actually helps to restore electrolytes to the body, but plain water works fine for the smoothie too. And then just blend it all up. And now I'm gonna add a few ice cubes to make it chilled and blend it up again quickly. And now my green smoothie is ready, and it's really creamy and delicious and so full of healthy nutrients. This is one of my favorite breakfast recipes for losing weight and for when I'm doing a detox.
Absolutely delicious. They're lovely, fantastic, very appealing.
There you go. And so I'm really excited. I'm getting back into a real detox at the moment on these things, and it tastes wonderful.
What does the green smoothie do for us exactly, Felicity?
Well, basically, the green is the chlorophyll.
Right.
And so it's 1 molecule away from our hemoglobin, you know, so we really need to live on plants, just as God said.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise, the beginning of the Bible, God said we should be doing this.
Yes.
And we've got so far away from it. So I just wanted to go through some of these things, the nutrition in bananas, for instance,
Yeah.
because people say, oh, potassium in bananas.
Yes.
Right. Also vitamin B, vitamin C, manganese, and dietary fiber. So 1 of those a day is absolutely great for us. With the cucumber, it's the high liquid content in the cucumber that is the basis of the green juice usually. And that has vitamin K, which is a really good one that people don't know so well, and molybdenum and pantothenic acid.
Molly, what, Felicity? You look like you stumbled there on that word. Go on.
Molybdenum. 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 Can you say that?
I'll leave it to you. Why do they make these words so complicated?
I don't know. Pantothenic acid, that's B5.
Very good.
Copper, magnesium,
Yes.
biotin, and B1.
Yeah.
That's thiamine. Do you know that?
Excellent.
And then what goodnesses are in baby spinach? Niacin. Do you remember what that's really good for? For depression.
Right.
Right. Niacin, zinc, protein, fiber, vitamin A, C, E, and K, B6, and again magnesium. So I could go on telling you what all these things are, but
Wow.
you know, in the avocados, for instance,
Yeah.
David Avocado Wolf
Yeah.
lives on them because
Yeah.
they are so good.
Yeah.
And an avocado a day is a great way of staying well.
Wow.
And then the spirulina that she talks about and the chlorella are blue-green algae. And I learnt about those when I was in America. And we had these special blue-green algae from Lake Klamath, which is in Oregon.
Yes.
And really interesting because it actually stimulates brain cells as well.
Right.
Really good to have.
Excellent.
So she puts all that in, and then she puts some ice in at the end to sort of make it taste more delicious.
When I was growing up, Felicity, I remember I used to love spinach.
Yeah.
Spinach was my favourite. What are the health benefits of spinach?
Oh, it's Popeye's favourite food, isn't
Yeah.
it? Definitely. It's the magnesium. It's the one thing I go for as well.
Yeah.
I love spinach. And you can get, if you can't get fresh spinach and you can't grow it, you know, you can get very good frozen.
Yes.
So it's, you know, the thing is to get the spinach into the body, and It's a really good, it's a dark green leafy vegetable. You know,
Yes.
we're always talking about that, like watercress.
Yeah.
And these are the things that really do build health. So to make it taste nicer, you can put an apple and a lemon in with the juice, with the blend, just to give it a bit of sweetness.
What about our children? The way our children's diets are changing, perhaps, or maybe they've stayed the same over the last few years. Of some of the people with our children might not have the most healthiest diet. So how do we transform them into start thinking about getting healthy, introducing some of these amazing foods into their diet?
Well, to make it fun and get them to start juicing for us, because we're too busy.
Yeah.
So what a good idea, because they love to go in the kitchen and get going with the juicer. And,
Yeah.
you know, my little ones have done it since they were
What
three.
would be a good starter juicer for them?
Well, carrot and apple, of course, is enormous fun, because they can scrape the carrots clean first, and then they can, you know, get the apples and put them all in. And they love to see them, you know, going down the juicer, pushing them down with a little tamper thing,
Yeah.
and then seeing this wonderful liquid coming out. The colours, you see, that attracts them. The colours are so wonderful.
Yeah.
And it tastes good. So it tastes quite sweet.
Excellent.
Carrot and apple taste sweet.
What about nuts and seeds? How healthy are they for us?
Fantastic. Full of selenium, full of magnesium, and yeah, we go nuts for nuts. It's really, really good.
Now we're talking about adding certain things, ingredients into our juicing. We're talking about chlorella, spirulina, for example.
Yeah, well, they're the blue-green algae, and they
Yeah.
are really good brain food, and it's good if you can get those in. Chlorella is quite difficult to actually digest, so by putting it in with a blend, you can actually get it assimilated in the body. And wheatgrass, of course, my favorite, wheatgrass, you know, it is brilliant, and it's got all the minerals in it, and may not taste the best on its own, but as I say, when you put it in with the blend, with an avocado, with a banana, with apple and lemon juice, always a little bit of lemon juice.
And today we've been talking about brain food and the power of our
Yeah.
brains as well. Just remind us the main food, the main ingredients that we need to be looking to consume in order to keep our brain healthy.
Well, nuts and seeds, cashew nuts, you know, they say that cashew nuts are as good as a dose of Prozac without the side effects, the adverse side effects. So certainly to have all those beautiful nuts and seeds, and of course they're fresh this time of year. It's lovely to see them, you know, roasted chestnuts and all these beautiful nuts. So yeah, they are a lovely present, I think, at Christmas. It's a bit traditional as well.
Felicity, thank you so much indeed for all the information that you provide us. Do you have a website for your
I
viewers
do,
can get further information?
Corbin-Wheeler.org and hippocratesineurope.com.
Excellent. Felicity, thank you so much as always. Thank you also to our lovely viewers as well. Do remember we have a catch-up service on our website. Simply log on to revelationtv.com. We talked about brain foods today and the importance of keeping our brains healthy, and of course our faith in Jesus Christ. Want to take care. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.